There we go. So it is my great privilege and pleasure to welcome our companion on this journey, Bobby Hamman, who's just got up from his seat, but he will be back, who has very kindly prepared for us a session this morning on, I'm just looking at the words for it here in front of me, finding and attracting business builders. So we have three main pillars, if you want to call it that, daily success habits in this business. The first one is to use the products. The second one is to build a team. Find a group of people who you can network with and who also become distributors. So I think, Bob, I'll hand over to you. The third one is what we are doing this morning in terms of our pillars or habits is personal development. So thank you, Bobby. Over to you, and we look forward. Thank you.
Have you given me share privilege there? Okay, it looks like it. So let's see if you can see my screen. Can you see the screen?
Yes, I can see it. Can everybody else?
Yes.
Okay, so let's start from the beginning. I think, yeah, pretty much as Monica's given those three keys and, the way that we look at it, I'm going to just present maybe some stuff today that's a little bit of out of the box stuff and built on a lot of what I guess I'm learning as far as building my own health coaching business is concerned. There's a lot that might change the way that you look at these things, because I think just as the world is moving pretty quickly in this digital world as well, there's other things that we maybe need to consider, but also the practical physical stuff that we do each day in NEOLIFE is really very, very important. So yeah, so I think just some of the things that we normally look for in trying to get people in. I think Monica also mentioned there are two different sides of this. It's building, your own business, and then obviously this thing of getting different people involved. And a lot of the things we look for, people who are entrepreneurial self-starters and people who want to build something of their own. And NEOLIFE obviously encourages us to do that from a personal perspective with our health, and it's a very personal journey. The other thing is looking at people like health and wellness enthusiasts, and that not only qualified people, but many people around us themselves are very passionate about their personal health, and also a very big thing with NEOLIFE, helping others, which is a foundational part, I think, to a lot of what we do and how we can be successful. The other big thing about building businesses is this thing of networking, and as I'm learning
I'll have more and damages, please.
Can somebody needs to mute?
It's just, yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, so building, our networks are around us, and that's the whole thing. This simple thing of actually talking to people, which, as I say, I'm learning more and more about, even in my own business. I take every opportunity now to actually talk to people, because that's the way you build, and you also just get the message out. And the other thing is having people that are coachable and teachable, and those are not only people that you're trying to attract into your business and your network, but the people around you, because people are wanting to learn things. And there's I think a bigger drive coming the way of the, looking at health, not from a medicine perspective, but just from the perspective in doing things better, lifestyle stuff. And that's beginning to happen more and more. And so people are actually becoming, I think, more and more open to it. So areas that we need to remember to target are like the people we meet every single day in our lives. We must talk to them. We must tell them about our products, tell them about our experiences. The other people like, health professionals, coaches, nutritionists, all of them can learn a lot about what NEOLIFE has to offer. We also need to look at things like, consider looking at things like the fitness communities and people like personal trainers. All of these people are dealing with other people all the time. And, they are good network opportunities. Other things these days, we have this thing called influencers. There are a lot of them around, and very often we need to become wellness influencers ourselves. And as I'm doing a lot more now, content creators. So I've learned to do a lot of the creation online and beginning to do that. And one of the next stages for me will be doing that with NEOLIFE in terms of the having a bigger presence and a bigger digital presence, because I think that, and if I take it for myself, is one of the ways that I'm going to be able to grow the NEOLIFE side of things, as I'm seeing with the health coaching business. And then, look at other people like small business owners and entrepreneurs. There are lots of those people around who want to build those businesses. And with the opportunity that we have at NEOLIFE and with our product and the backing behind us, there is, in fact, so much information and so much support. We've actually just got to start looking at it and making use of it. Just on the right-hand side there, I've put this book, that Monica and everybody does talk a lot about, the Eric Warrer book, and John and them, attending these things. I can just encourage you again. I'm busy going through it again, just to get a whole lot of ideas and just to read the book to help with a lot of your, not only motivation, but also ideas of how we can build our businesses at the end of the day. So we need to look at creative networking and outreach methods. And as I say, we spoke about the digital, but there's also the physical side of it. And I think just some of the ideas that we need to start looking at a little bit more is, getting a little bit more involved in the social media environment. Things like the, Instagram, Facebook, and LinkedIn. All of those areas provide us with a huge opportunity to be able to get our message out there and, literally, I suppose, speak to people. We need to look at things of, content marketing. So that's things like putting together little either videos, and if you have, you can actually in different ways use blogging, whether you have a website or not. We need to look at, like we're doing now, as I say, we need to encourage more and more people to come into our webinars and our workshops that we have, particularly when it's relating to product and those sort of related things that we can give to them. Some of the other things that we need to, with time, and I'm already doing that, the email automations and lead nurturing. So it's working in the digital space again. But I think a huge area where we're seeing a lot of our American and other partners over the world. And I mean, I know Bjorn's using some of the lead nurturing and stuff in using the social media platforms as well. The affiliate and referral systems, we can obviously, with our website and our links, we can use something similar to that. So it's actually available to us in some areas. We've just got to start using it. And I've started with one or two of my customers here, and they will be, using it where I can send that along, and they can, in actual fact, pick up discounts and or join, the team as as a NEOLIFE distributor. A lot of the offline methods, for people who are not into the a lot of the online stuff at the moment, is to do things like local health meetups or wellness workshops. Do something in your area, and it's a possibility of whether you set up a meeting and you can do it online or you can do it offline at a physical meeting. Choose a topic or something that you would get a speaker in, somebody who can maybe help you do that and present something that's of value to your community. I know we've done some of these things like pop-up booths or at markets and things. I think, Monica, you've done things like that as far as I know. So it's something that you can in actual fact do. Just another idea. And then we need to make use of this whole thing of seasonal, holiday themed events, particularly seasonal, because it provides a lot of opportunity with the different times of the year where different products will be used, and we can promote those things, and it's to find them and then set up a little bit of a campaign around it and drive it so that you can, in actual fact, get the exposure and hopefully more customers on board. The other thing is looking at partnerships with local wellness businesses, because I think, again, if you can find people like that, and it's also, believe it or not, I've created a bit of a link with one of the health shops here. And, in that I can get a fair amount of my information out. So it's all part of the building and just, developing networks around us. So then looking at the customer to build a conversion, we need to, and with, I think, NEOLIFE, these next points pretty much what we taught a lot to do. Focus on the product experience. I think so. Look at what the products that we've got and the experience we've had, and with others around us. Share our success stories and testimonials. And it's something we need to, as I'm discovering also in the health side, is to build those information stories behind us. Have the testimonials, have the information that you can share with people, note them down, keep them in some in a place that you can remember and keep looking at, so that you remember to use them. And then also looking at trying to invite, it's really leads, I guess. It's cool to talk about a high potential customer, but leads and so on, to events that we have. There are a lot of NEOLIFE events that happen. There's a lot of online stuff happening as well as physical meetings, to make sure we try and bring people to those, to expose them not only to our products but to other people and to the networking as well. And then use personalized approach, based on your own, I think, your own individual goals at the end of the day. So, look at what I think initially a lot of things that are important to you. Look at the success that you've had out of, and the benefit you've gained from using your NEOLIFE products, and use those in your business to promote what you're actually doing. You can also, look at other things like, product focused lead magnets, and different. I use, and I've started making, a lot of these ebooks and little guides and little tips and so on, things like boosting immunity with whole foods. And, we can put health challenges together. We can pick a challenge for a month and work on that related to products that we specifically, promote. There's things related to immunity. We do have stuff related to gut health. There are a number of different ways of actually packaging that and doing it. And then things like the sample boxes and trial packs, I think, going back even to our cleaning products. And I know that a number of you guys have used these kind of things where you can get things where people can get a taster of what the products are about, and, promote those to them, so that they can then understand and maybe, then decide to buy the product on a more permanent or, longer term basis. Look at seasonal campaigns, as I've mentioned earlier. January is a very good time to do things to focus on detoxes, and spring now coming up as well. As also, I'm running currently a whole month-long detox thing online, where I produce a whole month of posts, one a day, going out that relate to it's just it's a tip about, and if somebody in fact picked up the whole 30 days, they could literally have a detox program in their pocket if they just took the time to take note of it. But it's something that gets a presence out there, and we can obviously align it to our products like the NEOLIFE tea, the fiber tablets. There's a number of things that we have in our arsenal that we can in actual fact use to do that. Spring, again, fitness kickoff. It's a good time now to be doing that. And that will be my next one as I move into, spring, which kicks off now in September. We're literally 3/4 of the way through the year. And we have products that we can align to that and use as a theme going through. Then, like things with winter, just remember things like the, immunity support. A lot of our other products, the Pro Vitalities, the vitamin C's, the zincs, the magnesium, all of those different things relate to that. And it's products that lend themselves to be used in these kind of seasonal campaigns. And then looking at trying to keep, customers at the end of the day, our customer retention strategies. We very often, it's looking at the strategic, I suppose, upselling, and you have a product which they'll use initially, and then there will normally be a related product. And I know many of us do it. So it's a thing that, and complementary products as well. It's just to remember the other things that go with whatever we may initially, or that a customer may initially have gotten on. And again, not to just suggest things for the case of suggesting, but find related things that are definitely going to be of value to your customer, and use those. We also have the thing, now this is more with people in our own network, obviously, is, the loyalty things in terms of what they can gain. And you were talking about the one earlier, Monica, where, people are being able to go to that, the managers thing. And that is part of that kind of thing, which you've got to encourage people within our network be involved in and to take advantage of. I think one of the really important things which, we need to, and it's always I think a fairly difficult thing because of everybody's stressed for time, but, to make sure that we do follow up with the people that we're working with, share information with them and just communicate with them regularly, even if it's just to let them know that you're actually there and there is care. And, that's, one of the sayings that I've recently come across is that, people at the end of the day, they don't care how much you know until they know that you actually care. And that's, I think, a very, very important thing that we mustn't forget. Human beings are like that. We're in community, and it's a very important part of our work that we do, that what we do in this particular environment. And then, just other things. I think a lot of what I'm learning to do as well is this thing of actually just structuring things in terms of having things available. So for instance, if you bring people on board, make sure that you've got a structured way that you do it. NEOLIFE gives us a lot of that information, but very often when we bring people on board, we maybe forget those things and we don't pay enough attention to them. But it's very important to do that, because that's what will make sure we keep those people there. And we can also think about, things and like tiered training systems, just looking at how information we share with beginners to advanced people, that we've got that available, because when it happens, it's better to be prepared than try and panic and try and get it all together. So, try and set up those kind of things. You can also look at things like mentorships, or mentoring people. It's not particularly a mentorship program, I guess, but, looking at mentoring people, that teaching and training them and identifying people like that around us in order to build our own networks as well. And then, of course, this thing, is set time for regular check-ins and feedback sessions with the people that you interact with and work with. Building things also like, product knowledge resources. We have a huge bank of it sitting there, but very often we don't use it, and we're not actually, making use of the amazing tools that NEOLIFE give for us. But, familiarize yourself with those things, have them available, know where to get them so that you can actually share them with other people. And have things like, presentation templates and scripts available. So, who knows, you may end up doing, presentations. And as we've seen, some of the new people or new guys, I suppose maybe not new guys, but maybe new to presenting, like, Gon and the great job that he did the other day, is have things ready that you can, in actual fact, do that. This other thing, just looking at, how many actually sit down with like a, customer relationship management system or something that you're looking at, whether it's a physical thing or you've got it, on electronic system, but just how do you go about, in actual fact, prospecting and getting other people coming in? Have you got a plan? Do you put it down on a monthly basis? And do you, in actual fact, set times to build your email database or build your contact list on a structured basis? And it, maybe just as simple as that. You don't need to have fancy systems. It's how you do it and just making sure you plan to do it and get it done through the month. Then other things like goal setting. So often we don't, we sort of move along and we don't actually set goals. And it's something, again, I've learned now to do in my, health coaching as well, is that I set targets for the month of things that I've got to do and, what I've got to get done. And, how you're going to get them done, which, again, we all think, well, it's there and we have it in the back of our mind, but we need to write it down or put it on a computer or put it in a plan that you've got that's visible, that you can see and refer to, and just keep reminding yourself of it. And then, things like fostering team growth with our networks or the people that are working, within our teams, is to encourage the others as well to take ownership of what they're doing and initiative. You can't do everything for them. You can show them what they can do and you can show them what's, available, but we need to encourage them to actually do it. And to, again, as a big philosophy, I think, behind NEOLIFE is this whole thing of growing as an individual and, developing. And we need to encourage that as much as possible, because that's the way they're going to just, shine, and they will they will then produce, amazing results, I think, at the end of the day. We always need to, and as Monica did at the beginning as well, I think, is this thing of recognizing and celebrating achievements. Again, say in the health coaching world, we want look for those wins, no matter how small or big they are, and we make sure that we mention them. We make sure that we talk to our coachees about it so that they can build on that. We recognize it, because that also is another very important factor of human nature. We need to make sure we encourage people with that. Also, delegate responsibilities, and I think we're going to see Monica's doing a fair amount of this at the moment, getting people involved, which is good, and I think it's bearing results. So yeah, I think it's important. And then the big thing with NEOLIFE again is this whole thing of creating a culture of sharing our success stories. There are a lot of them, and if I look at a number of the other similar kind of health groups, I've done a comparison, in fact, between all the different ones that are out there, like the Amways and the AIMS and all the rest of them. And the important thing about NEOLIFE is that not only do we have such a powerful science-backed product, but we also have products that have been around for a very long time, and we have a lot of great support behind us as well, which we must make use of. The other thing we can look at as well, just sharing information and giving things to people in terms of, and again, this doesn't have to cost you much, because it's creating like educational content. So it's not as if you're giving something physical away that's costing you. It's taking your time, but it's sharing a knowledge that you have with others. And we need to look at things like that, whether we use electronic media, like, for instance, I use a lot of the blogs, starting to do the articles. There's obviously video, and there's a lot of things like the Instagrams and other things that we can in actual fact use. But by the same token, you can also do that, when you speak to people or when you interact directly physically with people. You can give them that and use this, part of how we can promote what we do. The other very big thing about NEOLIFE as well is this whole thing, and we mentioned, well, I suppose intimated a little bit to it earlier, this differentiating NEOLIFE's positioning. We must emphasize and make sure people understand, because I come across it so often. People want to know why you promote what you do, and like, for instance, for me, why I've used it for 25 odd years. And we have a unique product in terms of it being whole food nutrition that's backed by science, and that is so important, because so much of what we get these days is very synthetic, and just like processed foods, they're actually not good for you, or ultra processed foods. So a lot of the other stuff that we get on the market is, you're not absorbing 3/4 of the stuff anyway. Some of it's got so many additional additives to it that it's not doing your body much good, as well. So we need to understand just how important that is in the product that we promote. And in that as well, just highlighting the bioavailability compared to the synthetic supplements, which is pretty much what I've just said, is that, we've got to understand how valuable it is to give. It's literally like let's give people raw food instead of all this ultra processed stuff that we get in the supermarkets. And that's maybe a very simple way to look at it, but it's vital to understand that. We obviously, and we've mentioned it already, that, let people understand about NEOLIFE Scientific Advisory Board and research. So there's evidence backed behind the product that we promote. And I think these days people are beginning to question those kind of things a whole lot more, because there's just been so much stuff out there. And, so much of what we read today, people say things, but there's actually no evidence behind what they say. And, for me, coming from the clinical research arena, the first thing I ask is, okay, let's show me a clinical trial, effectively show me the evidence. And people are beginning to question those things more and more. And we can provide that with the product that we promote. And again, the thing about, it's been around, as I say, I've mentioned as well, 60+ year commitment to health and wellness. And NEOLIFE's been around for a long time. And there's obviously a reason why it's been able to be around for such a long time. Other things we need to look at as well, is strategic partnerships, something that you may find people, and you can look at different either, health related kind of businesses around you, look to trying to find them. I work with like psychologists with my health coaching. I've got buyers, I've got, other fitness coaches around the country, in fact, that I work with. I've just picked up customers from a coach in Joburg. So, those kind of things in actual fact do work. In fact, I've picked up two, I think, from the one particular guy. So it does work. Just look around you for people who have doing similar things to you, similar interests, and you can obviously then, try and partner with them, help each other out at the end of the day. And also, as I say, we as health coaches as well, nutritionists, there's a lot of collaboration. But even with you don't have to be a qualified person. You've got a product that's amazing that you can in actual fact promote to them. A lot of them will want to and use it themselves and also promote to the people that they interact with themselves. Another big thing which we need to look at in building our businesses is this thing of looking at monitoring what we're doing, and we very often don't look at it and look back on it. We've got to actually look at metrics that we have. How are we doing with all of this stuff, and the different things that we are doing? Are we actually gaining traction? Are we making headway? And we need to start keeping, track of those kind of things, because again, it'll highlight to us, what works and what doesn't work at the end. Are we achieving anything with these different things that we are doing? And we need to find a way of doing that. And again, Monica has, I think, put stuff on the table. There are things that we can use. It is available. You don't have to reinvent everything yourself. I've put down a number of, ideas on the slide again, but there are different ways that we can, we can do this. Stuff's available, but it's important that we do it so that we measure ourselves. We've got some, yardstick, and we can in actual fact determine, well, should we be doing this, or do we need to be looking at another way of doing things? So it's really important to track your performance and, are we improving? Are we moving along, the right road? The other
5
thing is,
minutes, Bob. 5 minutes.
Okay, almost done. We need to look at continuous improvement, define our goals, set our goals for ourselves for each different thing that we are doing. Look at the data that we are getting, and look at the results and review them and find patterns and opportunities. And that's the importance of performance tracking and keeping a track of what we're doing, and then implement and measure your results so that you can in actual fact go forward. Other things that we need to look at, obviously, I say, we've spoken a fair amount about the seasonal and local marking, different seasons of the year. Look at things happening around you in terms of, marketing opportunities, and, set yourself different ways that you can promote where you're going. And this is actually the last slide, is just an example, I guess, of setting almost like a 30-day action plan. So, in week 1, determine what you're going to do. And we use this again we in fact meet to discuss these things as far as health coaches are concerned. And we set those plans for a month, exactly what we're going to do, targets, and what we're going to achieve in this month. But it's an important thing to actually go a little bit more structured about it instead of hoping things are going to happen at the end of the day. And that book on the right, that I've highlighted there, I think will help you do. And the important thing about this atomic habits, is doing little things continuously to build the bigger things at the end of the day. It's a summary pretty much of what the book's about, but it's great reading, and I advise you to have a look at it. Thank you. That's it.
Wow. 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 Well, I don't know what anybody else thinks, Bob, but speaking on behalf of everybody, if you can just turn off your sharing. I think I will just say thank you, and then we'll terminate the recording, because there's so much that you have said that we really need to focus on. And if we implement everything that you have just taught us, we will all be diamond directors.